Hi everyone. We are now going to learn about the redox reactions in complexes. This takes place by two different mechanisms, outer sphere and inner sphere mechanism. But here in this video, we are going to learn about the outer sphere mechanism and how can we understand the outer sphere mechanism based on T2G, e.g. electron distribution. First one, we will learn about the electron transfer reactions in complexes. There is a transfer of electron from one complex to another. So before going into the actual examples, we will learn some of the terminologies or the concepts that are involved because we will be using them very often throughout the course. The mechanism of electron transfer reaction between the coordination spheres are of two types. The first one is outer sphere mechanism or OSM. This takes place when there is no bridging ligand mostly. Then the next one is the inner sphere mechanism or ISM. Here the bridging ligand is mandatory. The other terminologies or the other concepts that we should know are, the first one is the EG orbitals are labeled as sigma star orbitals. What are the EG orbitals? They are dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals. These are the orbitals that take part in the initial sigma bonding because the ligands approach the central metal ion through the axis for the coordination for the formation of octahedral complexes. So these orbitals are involved in the initial sigma bonding. So they are labeled as sigma star orbitals. The EG orbitals are shielded by ligands. Yes, because they are interacting with the ligands. The metal orbitals, the EG metal orbitals are interacting with the ligands. So they are not free. The next one is T2G orbitals are labeled as pi star orbitals because they take part in the pi bonding of the metal ligand bond. So sigma bonds are the primary bonds that take place where EG orbitals are involved, and pi bonds are the additional bonds that are taking place in the metal ligand bonding. The T2G orbitals are involved in the pi bonding. The T2G orbitals are not shielded by ligands. So we will see an example now for the electron transfer reaction that occur through outer sphere mechanism. Here the cyano complexes of iron in two different oxidation state are taken. Iron in 2 plus oxidation state and iron in 3 plus oxidation state. This acts as a reducing agent or reductant. The iron in 3 plus oxidation state acts as an oxidizing agent or oxidant. Because the iron in 2 plus oxidation state is going to be oxidized to Fe3 plus. So this is since this is getting oxidized, it is acting as a reducing agent. The iron in 3 plus oxidation state is getting reduced to 2 plus. So this gets reduced and oxidizes the other one. So this is a oxidizing agent. Now let us see the electron distribution here. All are low spin complexes. Iron in 2 plus is D6. So it is T2G6R pi star 6. After the reaction, now it loses the electron from its pi star orbital and it is oxidized to Fe3 plus. What happens to the other complex? The iron in 3 plus oxidation state with D5 configuration is a low spin complex with pi star 5. Now what happens after the electron transfer? Now it becomes Fe2 plus because the electron is now added to the pi star orbital. So the electron is lost from pi star orbital from here to here, and the electron is gained in the pi star orbital from Fe3 plus to Fe2 plus. So this kind of reactions are called self-exchange reactions because you cannot differentiate between the reactants and the products. So they are called self-exchange reactions. There is no exchange of ligand between the coordination spheres, right? So we don't observe any exchange of ligand between the coordination sphere. Here we cannot observe because both are cyano, but there is no exchange of ligands between the coordination sphere because both the complexes are inert, because we know that the low spin complexes are inert in nature. So there is a change in the bond length. See, the Fe2 plus becomes Fe3 plus, and Fe3 plus becomes Fe2 plus. So that means there is a change in the bond length between the blue ion and the carbon here and the blue ion and the carbon here, which means that if this has to take place very fast, then the change in the bond length from Fe2 plus C and Fe3 plus C should be very less. Only when the change in the bond length is less, and similarly here also from Fe3 plus to Fe2 plus, here also the change in the bond length should be less. Only when the change in the bond length is less, then the reaction rate will be faster. And the last one that we have observed here is there is a transfer of electron from pi star orbital to pi star orbital. That is, the electron is lost from the pi star orbital and it is gained in the pi star orbital, because these are the orbitals that are this pi star electron transfer is easy because these orbitals are not shielded. And here I want to make a note that these are called electron transfer reactions. This is entirely different from electronic transition, which we observe in the case of charge transfer or in the case of the UV visible spectroscopy, right? So that is not happening here. This is a transfer of electron from one species to another species, and here it is a pi star electron transition which leads to a redox reaction. We will understand one more complicated electron transfer reaction which occurs through OSM. Now here the cobalt complexes in two different cobalt ammonia complex in two different oxidation state of cobalt are given here. We will try to understand this. Now here this is a high spin cobalt complex in 2 plus oxidation state. It is D7. So this is T2G5 and EG2. This is a labile complex, or we can label it as pi star 5 and sigma star 2. Now what happens to this? This is getting oxidized. So that means this loses an electron and it becomes an inert complex, because cobalt in 3 plus is a low spin complex. So the spin of the complex changes. It goes from high spin complex to a low spin complex. And here what happens, the other one which was a low spin complex before the reaction, because cobalt is in 3 plus oxidation state, is now converted to a cobalt to a high spin complex after the redox reaction. So how this process happens? So we will see step by step now. This is the ground state electronic configuration and this is the excited state. Now during the excitation, what happens? One of the electron from the sigma star orbital is shifted from here to here. From this becomes sigma star 1 and this becomes pi star 6. And what happens to the low spin cobalt? This also shifts one of its electron from its pi orbital to sigma orbital. So this takes place in the excited state. Now in the excited state, there is a transfer of electrons. See, the pi star 6 becomes pi star 5 and the pi star 5 becomes pi star 6, which means that the electron transfer takes place in the excited state. And then when it becomes an excited state, now the cobalt which was in high spin, since it has transferred its electron to the other one, it is oxidized now. When it is oxidized, it has to go to the low spin. So now it becomes a low spin complex. Now this is getting reduced. The red color cobalt is now getting reduced. So now it becomes a high spin complex. So here the one more point that we can note here is the cobalt 2 plus ammonia bond length is 193 picometer, whereas for cobalt 3 plus ammonia bond length is 211 picometer. So there is a large difference in the bond length also. So there are two processes that are occurring here. One is the large variation in the bond length and the other one is the conversion of high spin and low spin complexes, interconversion of high spin and low spin complexes. So what the labile complex is converted to an inert complex and the inert complex is converted to a labile complex. Because of these factors, the reaction rate is slow, but the mechanism is outer sphere mechanism only. Right, now we will see the cross reactions. What is meant by cross reactions? the oxidant and the reductant will be two different complexes. That is, the metal ion will be different in both the complexes. So these cross reactions can be understood from the self-exchange reaction. So Fe3 plus is reduced to Fe2 plus here, and ruthenium ammonia complex, where ruthenium is in 2 plus, is oxidized to ruthenium in 3 plus. So this can be written as two different self-exchange reactions. So iron 3 plus and iron 2 plus as the reactants, and the same as the product. So the rate of this reaction is given as the K11. For the ruthenium complex, again 3 plus and 2 plus are considered as the reactants and as well as the product. So these two reactions are the self-exchange reactions. Now Marcus Hush framed the equation to understand the rate of the cross reactions. The equation is the rate of the cross reaction K12 is equal to K or square root of K11. That is the rate of the first self-exchange reaction and the rate of the second exchange reaction and the equilibrium of the net reaction, and F is the correlation factor, which refers to the difference in the free energies of the two reactants. So these people observed that the rate of the first reaction, self-exchange reaction, is 4.2 for in the case of iron. In the case of ruthenium, the rate of the reaction is 4 into 10 power 3. Both are taking place through the outer sphere mechanism. And the equilibrium constant for the net reaction, when that is also substituted, then what they have observed for the rate of the cross exchanges, it is more than the rate of the self-exchange reactions. So the cross reactions are faster than the self-exchange reactions. This equation was given by Marcus and Hush, and Marcus was awarded Nobel Prize for understanding the electron transfer reactions in biological systems. Now we are going to learn redox reactions in complexes by inner sphere mechanism, and how inner sphere mechanism can be understood based on the T2G electron distribution. The inner sphere mechanism reactions are mostly done by Taube, and he was awarded Nobel Prize for this. There is a example given here, cobalt ammonia complex, which it's a heteroleptic complex with the chlorine also present here. Cobalt is in 3 plus oxidation state here, and another complex that is taken here is the chromium aqua complex, where chromium is in 2 plus oxidation state. The cobalt complex acts as the oxidant because it gets reduced to the cobalt 3 plus gets reduced to cobalt 2 plus. In this process, it oxidizes chromium 2 plus to chromium 3 plus. So this is an oxidant. Cobalt complex is an oxidant, whereas the chromium aqua complex is an reductant. And what are the other observations that we are making from this equation? The ammonia complex initially, the cobalt ammonia complex initially, which was present as the reactant, is converted to a cobalt aqua complex in the product. So along with the transfer of electrons, that is cobalt from 3 plus oxidation state, it is reduced to 2 plus oxidation state. Along with the transfer of electrons, here there is a exchange of ligands also. So which means that this complex undergoes substitution reactions also. Here the cobalt chromium, which was an aqua complex, initially with the 6 aqua ligands, later gains the chlorine ligand from the cobalt complex. So now there are a lot of things that has happened here. Apart from the electron transfer, there is ligand transfer also. So we are going to learn a lot about this in this reaction. Now first we will concentrate on the T2G electron distribution. For cobalt in 3 plus oxidation state, in D6 it is a low spin complex. So it is T2G6 or pi star 6, which is an inert complex with a higher CFSE value. Now when it is getting reduced to 2 plus, it becomes a high spin complex with D7 with electron distribution as pi star 5 and sigma star 2. Now what happens to the chromium complex? The chromium complex, which was an labile complex in the initial state with D4 electronic configuration and T2G3 EG1 or pi star 3 sigma star 1, After the reaction, it becomes the inert complex with D3 configuration or pi star 3 configuration. So what happens here? The net reaction we are going to understand in this way. Cobalt 3 plus, which was initially with the pi star 6 configuration, goes to the excited state where one of the electron is excited to the sigma star orbital. So it becomes pi star 5 and Eg star 1. Now in this excited state, there is a transfer of electron from chromium to cobalt. So the electron is lost from the sigma star orbital of the chromium and it is gained in the sigma star orbital of the cobalt. So the inert complex has now become a labile complex and the chromium complex, which was initially labile, has now become a inert complex. So there are spin changes that occurs in the complexes also. Previously in the OSM also we have seen one example where there is a inert to labile and labile to inert nature of the complexes, and we saw that the reaction rate was very slow and it was occurring through the outer sphere mechanism. But here we are going to observe that this is an inner sphere mechanism. What makes it to undergo through inner sphere mechanism? So here the same reaction is given here. The reaction is actually taking place by the transfer of electron from a sigma star orbital of the cobalt and the gain of electron in the sigma star orbital of the chromium, and this takes place through inner sphere mechanism. How we have observed it? Because the reaction rate is very fast. It is 6 into 10 power 5 liter moles per second, moles inverse and seconds inverse. So how the rate of the reaction has become very fast? Because in the OSM we have seen that when there is a change in the spin of the complexes before the reaction and after the reaction, the rate of the reaction is slow. But how the rate of the reaction is becoming so fast and the entire mechanism of the reaction also changes from OSM to ISM? This is because the first one is the binuclear complex is the intermediate here, and the Cl minus acts as the bridging ligand. So that means such kind of binuclear complex intermediate is formed here. Now this kind of binuclear intermediate was not formed in the OSM, because in OSM there is no breaking of the coordination sphere. It is a transfer of electron through the T2g orbital or the pi star orbital from one complex to the other complex, whereas here the transfer of electron from one complex to the other complex is taking place through the bridging ligand. So the inert nature of cobalt 3 plus is converted to the labile cobalt 2 plus, and the labile CO2 plus is converted to inert labile Cr2 plus is converted to inert Cr3 plus. So here Cl minus acts as a bridging ligand. So there is a binuclear complex as the intermediate, and so there is a breaking of the coordination sphere between the reactant complexes, and this forms a single intermediate complex, and later the intermediate complex is again broken into two different complexes in the product. When it is breaking into two different complexes in the product formation, since Cr3 plus becomes inert, the chlorine Cr bond, that is the Cl3 plus Cr3 plus bond that is formed is going to be an inert, is with the inert Cr3 plus. So this Cr bond is not broken. That is why in the product the chromium complex has the chlorine ligand with it, whereas initially it was with the cobalt complex. So there is a transfer of electron from sigma star of the cobalt complex, and there is a gain of electron through the in the sigma star orbital of the chromium. So these sigma star orbitals are the one which are overlapping with the or interacting with the ligands. That is why when the chlorine acts as the bridging ligand, there is a direct interaction between the sigma orbital of cobalt and the sigma orbital of chromium. That is why the reaction rate is very fast. Similar kind of tau-based reaction was also performed with different ligands as the bridging ligands. In the case of halogens, the rate of electron transfer is found to be when fluoride is acting as the bridging ligand, the rate of reaction is very, very slow. Whereas when the iodide is acting as the bridging ligand, the rate of the reaction is found to be very fast. This is because when the anion size is larger, its outermost orbitals are diffused in space, facilitating better bridging between the two cations. So iodide acts as a good bridging ligand. That is why there is a easy transfer of electron from cobalt complex to chromium complex. Whereas in the case of a fluoride ion, since the size is smaller, it is not very much diffused in space, and so the reaction rate is very slow when it has to act as a bridging ligand to transfer the electron between the two different complexes. Thank you. Hi everyone. We have learned different concepts in the reaction kinetics in complexes. We will try whether we are able to apply those concepts to solve some of the problems. The first problem is, consider the following reaction. Which one of the following is the correct statement? So we will first consider the reaction, then we will go for the option. The first equation is given here. We are familiar with this equation because this is cobalt complex, this is chromium complex, and the chlorine is the ligand present here, and this chlorine ligand is transferred from cobalt to chromium. So this all indicates that this is an example that we have studied in the inner sphere mechanism. Then the second equation here is the cyano complex of iron and cyano complex of molybdenum. Here this complex in this iron complex, it is in 2+ oxidation state, and it goes to 3+, it is oxidized, whereas the molybdenum cyano complex is reduced. They are since the cyano ligand is a strong field ligand, and also molybdenum is present in the second row of the 3D series. So all these points out to the molybdenum present in the second row of the D block elements. All these point to the inert nature or low spin nature of the complexes, and in turn these complexes should be inert. So this is the idea that I'm going to get once I read the problem. So now I will move on to the options. The first option is both involve inner sphere mechanism. No, we definitely know that the second is not the inner sphere mechanism because it is inert. It cannot take place through the inner sphere mechanism. Both involve outer sphere mechanism. This is also not correct because we know that first is the example for inner sphere mechanism. Then comes the two distractors. The reaction 1 follows the inner sphere, whereas the reaction 2 follows the outer sphere mechanism. We can fix it here because reaction 1 is inner sphere. We know that this is inner sphere, and we understand that this is also outer sphere. If you want, you can go and read the fourth one. The fourth option is reaction 1 follows the outer sphere mechanism, which is not true, and reaction 2 follows the inner sphere mechanism. What we are very confident is reaction 1 is inner sphere mechanism. So either it could be A or it could be C, right? And it cannot be A because the second reaction cannot take place through the inner sphere mechanism because both the complexes are inert, and substitutionally inert complexes will usually undergo the reaction by outer sphere mechanism only. Outer sphere mechanism only. So that means A cannot be the correct option. So we will see which option is correct. So C is the correct option. We'll go for the second problem. Lability of the ions Cr2+, Mn2+, and V2+ should follow the order. They have given some order here. But what is the nature of these ions? Whether they are high spin state or in the low spin state, nothing is given. But there is another keyword that is present in the problem is lability, which means that these complexes should be in their labile nature. All these complexes, all these metal ions in their complexes are labile, and we are going to find out which is more labile. So if the complexes are labile in nature, then we need to assume that they are high spin complexes. So now Cr2 plus in high spin it is T2G3 Eg1, Mn2 plus in D5 it is T2G3 Eg2, and V2 plus is D3 it is T2G3. Now let us not transform this to pi star or sigma star, because it is only the labile nature, that is the substitution reaction only is asked here. Nothing about the redox reaction is mentioned here. So we will stick here only to the distribution of electrons between T2G and Eg, and we will try to find out which is more labile. And we know that any D3 ion is an inert. So V3 plus is highly inert, where it is present in A and B. And then try to find out which is more labile. Which will be more labile? The one which has got a very low CFSE will be more labile. Now, which will among these two, which will have very less CFSE? Naturally, Mn2 plus, because there are two electrons in the Eg orbital to destabilize the Mn2 plus ion. So that means the CFSE value will be very, very less, because the T2G electron contributes in both the cases it is 3 only. So they will have minus 0.4 into 3. So that is going to be the same, which is going to reduce the CFSE value. The CFSE value will be reduced more by the Eg2 than by Eg1. So that means the lesser CFSE will be observed for Mn2 plus. So now this is going to be more labile. So among A and B, now only in the B option, manganese is given as more labile and vanadium is given as the least labile or inert. So the answer is going to be B. Then next problem. This is a very tricky problem. Consider two redox pairs, chromium 2, ruthenium 3, and then chromium 2, cobalt 3. The rate of acceleration in going from outer sphere to inner sphere mechanism is lower for 1 relative to 2. So what are the observations that we are going to make from this? First one, right? It is an outer sphere inner sphere mechanism. So we are talking about the redox reaction. Now in both the cases, Cr2 plus is common. So now Cr2 plus will be oxidized to Cr3 plus. So this is going to reduce Ru3 plus here, and it is going to reduce CO3 plus here. So Cr2 plus is a reductant in both the cases. So now what is asked? So I have now fixed that I have to check what is the nature of electron transfer in both the cases. Because what is the rate of acceleration in going from outer sphere to inner sphere? That is, when the reaction changes from outer sphere mechanism to inner sphere mechanism, the rate of the reaction is low for 1, but it is high for 2. This we know because this is an example for inner sphere mechanism. This we have already seen. So whenever I am going to introduce the inner sphere mechanism, definitely the bridging ligand is going to be there. So that means this is already an example for the inner sphere mechanism. So now I am just going to find out what are the different electron transfer that are taking place in the reaction. So now let me work out that. The first one is what happens to the reductant. Reductant is D4, high spin D4. It is pi star 3 and sigma star 1, and it loses its electron from sigma orbital. Now in the first case, Ru3 plus, which has got pi star 5, is reduced to Ru2 plus. So it gains the lost electron from chromium to the pi star orbital. In the case of cobalt, the electron that is lost from the sigma orbital of the chromium is gained in the sigma orbital of the cobalt. So net result is, in the first case it is a sigma star pi star electron transfer, whereas in the second case it is a sigma star electron transfer. So we know that when it is going to be a sigma star electron transfer, the inner sphere mechanism is going to be easier, right? So let us now check out the options. Now in the options, they have given HOMO and LUMO. So what is this HOMO? HOMO is the highest occupied molecular orbital. In the case of chromium, the highest occupied molecular orbital is sigma. And LUMO is the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. The lowest unoccupied molecular orbital in the case of ruthenium 3 plus is pi star, and in the case of cobalt it is sigma star. So now which one I am going to take? So HOMO is sigma star. So I have to look for the option where HOMO is sigma star. Now the rate of acceleration in going from outer sphere to inner sphere is lower for 1. That means in the case of first one, the LUMO is pi star. So that means the second option is correct. So let us check out which option is correct. Now the option that is correct is second one. So that is how the problem has to be approached. Thank you.